Have you ever wondered what could make a person vanish without a trace? No struggle, no sign of a fight, just gone. What if the very earth beneath your feet had the power to swallow you whole, as if you were never even there? In southwestern Vermont, there's a place where this has happened over and over again. A place with a dark, twisted reputation that continues to haunt anyone who dares to enter. Welcome to the Bennington Triangle. This eerie region, nestled in the heart of the Green Mountain National Forest, gained its terrifying reputation after a series of mysterious disappearances between 1945 and 1950. It's an area where the laws of nature seem to break down, and where countless lives were swallowed by the land without a single explanation. It's a place where locals believe a curse lurks in the shadows, and where theories about what happens to those who vanish are as chilling as the forest itself. It all started on a crisp November day in 1945. Middie Rivers, a seasoned guide in his 50s, knew the land of Vermont like the back of his hand. He was the kind of man you'd want leading you through the thick forests of the Green Mountains. On that day, he was guiding a group of hunters through the Long Trail, a famous path that cuts right through the heart of the Bennington Triangle. But somewhere along the way, something went horribly wrong. As the group made their way through the dense woods, Middie walked ahead of them. He was just a few paces in front when, without warning, he vanished. The group didn't hear a thing. No shout, no rustling of leaves. It was as though he simply ceased to exist. Despite an immediate search, Middie was never found. There were no signs, no tracks, nothing to indicate what had happened to him. Authorities searched for days, but it was as if the forest had swallowed him whole. The most unsettling part? There were no signs of a struggle, nothing to suggest foul play, just silence. If you think that's eerie, wait until you hear about what happened the very next year. In December 1946, a young woman named Paula Welden, an 18-year-old student at Bennington College, decided to take a hike on the Long Trail, just as many locals did. Paula had hiked this trail before, so it wasn't unfamiliar territory. She had no reason to believe anything would go wrong. She left her dorm, waved goodbye to a friend, and walked off into the woods. She didn't return. The evening came and went, and Paula's friends grew worried. Her family reported her missing, and what followed was one of the most extensive search operations in Vermont's history. Volunteers combed the forest for days, but despite their efforts, there was no trace of Paula. What was truly bizarre were the accounts from several hikers who claimed to have seen a woman walking alone along the trail. She matched Paula's description perfectly, but when they tried to approach her, she was gone, vanishing without a word or a trace, and no one was ever able to confirm that it was her. The strangest part, there were no footprints, no disturbances in the leaves, nothing to suggest that she had ever passed through the area. The authorities could never explain Paula's disappearance. They followed every lead, but no answers came. Her case remains one of the most unsettling to this day. Not just because she vanished, but because the search revealed how impossible it was to uncover any clues. Like Middie Rivers, Paula Welden seemed to have simply disappeared into thin air. And then in 1949, another person vanished. James Tedford, a war veteran who was traveling by bus from St. Albans to his home in Bennington. He was last seen on the bus, sitting in his seat, surrounded by fellow passengers. But when the bus reached its destination, James was gone. His luggage remained on the bus, untouched. The people who had been seated near him didn't remember him getting off at any point during the journey. It was as though he had never been there at all. Authorities looked into the case, but as with the others, there was no trace of James Tedford, no sign that he had ever been on that bus or had even left his seat. What's more unsettling is that no one could account for his disappearance. There were no witnesses, no leads, nothing. He had simply vanished, just like the others. You may think it can't get worse, but it does. In October 1950, an 8-year-old boy named Paul Jepson disappeared. His mother, walking along a road near Bennington, turned around to call out to him, only to find that he had vanished. It was the same eerie pattern. No footprints, no sign of a struggle, nothing to indicate what had happened. Just an empty space where Paul had been. Despite a thorough search of the area, the boy was never found. What made Paul's disappearance particularly unsettling was that it occurred so close to the spots where other strange incidents had taken place. The patterns were becoming impossible to ignore, and many began to question whether there was something far more sinister at work in the Bennington Triangle. As the years passed, theories about the disappearances began to pile up. Some locals believed that the area was haunted, cursed by spirits that sought to claim the souls of anyone who dared to venture too deep into the woods. Others whispered about a creature, something dark and malevolent, that prowled the forest, feeding on human life. Some believed the disappearances were tied to an ancient Native American legend. The indigenous people had long avoided the Green Mountain area, fearing it was cursed by vengeful spirits. The stories of the disappearances seemed to follow this theme, as if the land was taking its revenge on those who dared to walk its paths. Others speculated that the Bennington Triangle was a portal to another dimension, an otherworldly rift that opened up in the forest, pulling unsuspecting hikers and travelers into its depths. Could this mysterious area be a place where the very fabric of reality itself was thinner, causing people to simply vanish into thin air? Whatever the truth, the Bennington Triangle remains one of the most baffling and frightening mysteries in America, a place where the line between myth and reality becomes dangerously thin. Despite all the theories, no one has been able to explain the disappearances in the Bennington Triangle. Over the years, the area has become an infamous destination for adventurers and paranormal enthusiasts, all hoping to uncover the truth behind the strange events that have haunted the region for decades. Some enter the Green Mountain National Forest in search of answers, while others are simply drawn to its dark allure, tempted by the possibility that something greater than nature itself lingers there. The disappearances from the 1940s and 1950s remain unsolved to this day, and the forest's unsettling atmosphere still carries the weight of those lost souls. Could there be a connection between the disappearances of Middie Rivers, Paula Welden, James Tedford, and Paul Jepson? The lack of physical evidence in each case points to something far beyond simple human error or foul play. No footprints, no personal belongings left behind, no evidence to suggest what happened to them. It's as though they were simply erased from existence. As time passed, the theories only grew wilder. Some still believe that the Bennington Triangle is haunted by spirits of the past, cursed by an ancient Native American force that watches over the land, seeking vengeance. Others point to the possibility that the area is a place where time itself becomes distorted, and people who wander too far are lost in some kind of supernatural vortex. Could there be a tear in the fabric of reality here? A rift that pulls people into another world? And if so, what happens to those who disappear? Do they simply vanish, or do they become trapped in some unknown dimension, forever lost? In the years following these disappearances, others have ventured into the triangle, never to return. There are no new disappearances in recent decades, but the eerie reputation of the Bennington Triangle remains intact. It continues to be a place of mystery, and its strange occurrences still inspire speculation and fear. The last mystery of the Bennington Triangle is perhaps the greatest one. Why have these incidents persisted? Why does this remote corner of Vermont continue to draw so many curious souls, only to swallow them without a trace? No one knows the answer, and that may be the most terrifying part of all. To this day, the Bennington Triangle remains a place where the unknown thrives, and where the line between myth and reality is impossibly blurred. The forest may hold its secrets forever, leaving us to wonder if the missing souls are still there, caught between worlds, waiting to be discovered, or if they're just another part of the wilderness that will never give up its deadliest secret. And the next person who walks into the triangle, they may be the next to vanish,